Welcome everyone to the Roomvo webinar. We're very excited to have you join us today. Looks like we have lots of people joining in and some familiar names from around the globe. I'm Josh McKissick. I'm our Director of Customer Success here at Roomvo, and I'll be moderating the session today, which is Beyond Trends, Navigating 2024 with Data and Analytics. For those that might not have heard of Roomvo yet, let me just quickly introduce us. We are the home decor's industry-leading visualization solution, and we help manufacturers, dealers, distributors, and big box retailers bring their products to life every single day. I'll actually show you a little bit more about Roomvo and how it works soon, but for now, let's jump in. The session today is going to last about 45 minutes, and we'll start with some introductions of the speakers. Then I'll lead the first half of the session where we're going to dive into evolving consumer landscape, the power of customer data. I'll show you a bit about Roomvo and more. And then on the back half, we're going to have a fireside chat with a couple special guests, which I'll introduce momentarily. And that part of the session, we're going to dive into data and analytics and even future looking at trends. We're going to try to save some time for Q&A at the end, so please post your questions. There's a little Q&A button there at the bottom, and we'll try to get to as many questions as we can. So first, an introduction to the speakers. I'm lucky enough to be joined by Todd Skidmore and Brandon Shedlowski. Todd Skidmore is the Senior Director of Digital Marketing and E-commerce Analytics at Mohawk. He leads a team of very talented digital marketers and e-commerce managers where they work to drive growth and create best-in-class experiences across all of Mohawk's digital platforms. So we're very lucky to have Todd join us as our industry expert today. Welcome, Todd.
Thank you. Great to be here.
And also with us, we have Brandon Shedlowski, the Senior Director of Strategy here at Roomvo. And Brandon is our in-house expert. He has years of experience helping both manufacturers and dealers succeed using Roomvo, bringing their products to life and empowering their shoppers to make buying decisions. Welcome, Brandon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here as well.
Can't wait to have the fireside chat with the two of you, but let's get things started first. So the consumer landscape is evolving. We're seeing that customers' expectations are higher than ever before when shopping, and those expectations are actually changing quickly. Customers have now come to expect a personalized shopping experience, and we're trying to meet their unique needs. This has really led to an importance of understanding consumer behavior and preferences. So what we found is it's no longer that customers shop the way that you sell, but you must sell the way that customers shop. They demand personalized experience and tailored products. So you must provide ways to immerse that customer in a shopping journey. We know that as manufacturers and retailers, you are facing challenges in meeting those evolving customer demands. The traditional methods of market data, market research, and consumer feedback may not suffice anymore. So you're not getting data in real time, and it's hard to get from these traditional means. Clearly, the current data loop really is not working. In addition, there's a need for deeper insights into consumer behavior to stay competitive. So why is customer data so important? Well, consumer data provides valuable insights into purchasing behavior and preferences, and ideally you need that in real time. It's important because good consumer data enables manufacturers and retailers to tailor products and marketing strategies to meet consumer needs. In addition, looking forward, it helps in identifying trends and predicting future market demand. So it's really not easy as a manufacturer to tailor your products, have to come up with custom marketing strategies and predict the future. but this is clearly why accurate data is critical. So really what we've looked at is that the consumer landscape is evolving. You are facing challenges with meeting those customer demands and getting quality data. And not just data, but timely, relevant data. And we know it's important to have customer data for making decisions. And Roomvo enables this. So we're more than just a visualization platform. While our visualization is best in class, we've also helped customers get up to 3 times more time spent on their website with making it really engaging. We help customers see up to 5 times more conversions, and we've brought over 1 billion products to life. But Roomvo goes beyond that to solve the challenges around data and consumer preferences that I've been speaking about. So I'd like to take a moment to show you a quick demo of Roomvo for those that haven't seen it, and then we're going to dig into the actionable analytics and data that we provide to our customers. So Roomvo is an experience that can be embedded on your website and launched from your website. A very typical spot would be from the PDP. A customer is looking at a certain product or SKU, and they want to launch Roomvo to see that product in their room. I'm just using our demo account from our website, but you can click any CTA and launch Roomvo. This is our launch sequence where we encourage users to upload a photo of their room. If they don't have a photo of their room, you could provide some preset rooms, but here I've gone ahead and uploaded a photo of my room. And right away, we're launching Roomvo with that floor or that SKU applied to my room. On the left side, you'd have your full catalog where I could immediately try on different products. There's tons of features within Roomvo, and we actually won't be able to get through all of them today, but there are things like the compare mode, where a customer can see on the left side their original room, and on the right side, the new room that they're designing. You can also redecorate other surfaces. So if I wanted to change the walls, I can have go through the filters to look at different colors, shades, different materials. Maybe I want to apply some paint and put on this misty blue-gray. Looks great. There you have it. I've renovated my room. Of course, you can have other things here that you'll see on the right, like being able to email that image or download and share it. You have CTAs, like being able to book appointments and really drive leads and conversions. So now that you've seen at a high level what Roomvo is capable of, I wanted to showcase how it also collects and analyzes consumer data in real time. To start, we're just looking at some visualization metrics. These are core metrics to the visualizer where you'll be able to understand how the visualizer is performing, how many products are being viewed, and how many more customers are converting because of Roomvo. There is so many different analytics and things that you could dig into within our system. However, for today's session, I'm just giving you a sneak peek and some high-level screenshots. So you have the visualization metrics. And beyond that, we have consumer behavior and preferences that our customers leverage. So now, in real time, you can understand what customers are doing and what they prefer. I only pulled a few here as an example, but you can see like what categories or colors are trending. What are the customers shopping? Where are the customers shopping from regionally? What materials are they looking at? Like I said, this is just a couple examples. We can go deeper. We have things like being able to provide consumer behavior and preferences data on patterns or brands. We can even let you know what room type customers are uploading so you can understand, are they shopping for kitchens or bathrooms? So much quality information and really able to dig into the consumer behavior. Another area within our analytics is benchmarking. With Roomvo's benchmarking, you can view how your data and analytics compares to your peers in your industry. So you can really get a sense of how you are performing against your competitors. And these are competitors that are in the same region and business type as you. So for example, flooring manufacturer within North America or within Europe, we can get pretty granular. So of course, this has incredible value on its own. And we are the first in the industry to provide this data to manufacturers. But the amazing thing with our benchmarking is it also provides tips and advice on how to improve in any underperforming areas. We also have an incredible customer success team that acts as your partner to help you level up and to work with you. The last area I wanted to showcase within our analytics is the dealer retailer metrics. So for our manufacturers that join our Roomvo partner program, you can get retail level metrics. On the Roomvo partner program, you can have your products visualized on your dealer's websites. So we're getting even closer to the shopper's point of actual purchase. And the best part is that we then feed you the analytics to understand what is happening at the retail level. This here is a snapshot of just some of the metrics that we provide from the retail level. And as you can see, you're able to understand the products being viewed and the engagement and more. But there are tons of other metrics that we provide, including a lot of those consumer preference analytics. So data is important, but it's also about turning that insight into action. And Roomvo is here to help you turn that insight into action with robust real-time data, consumer preferences and analytics. We are able to help you with product development and innovation. We can also help you with personalized marketing strategies. So starting with product development and innovation, this is driven by customer insight. You can really uncover details. So you can dive into SKU performance and metrics around that. You can dive into shoppers' behavior. We're able to help customers with optimization of pricing strategies to maximize their profits and create data-driven growth. You can quickly identify top performing products, meet those market demands, and around the personalized marketing strategies and communication, this enables you to actually maximize your marketing resources. So understand your preferences and then the customer's preferences, and then adapt your campaigns to maximize impact. So to wrap up here, ultimately, Roomvo helps you drive leads. So whether it's while using Roomvo itself or leveraging that data and insights that we've spoken about today, we're here to help you drive those leads, understand when shoppers are more or less active, plan your campaigns, guide a shopper to a decision faster. You will understand the market demands, and this is in real time, where you can also integrate this data into your marketing systems, your Google Analytics, and so on. So enhancing your understanding like never before, so you can ensure that your marketing strategies and content are really targeted is what we're getting after. I think that's a great place to stop and segue with all that information into our fireside chat so that I can get the expert's opinion on this as well. Welcome. Do I have you here, Todd and Brandon?
Yep, we're here.
All right. Todd, I think I'd love to start with you. Based on kind of what we were going through, what obstacles does your team encounter when attempting to grasp consumer shopping behavior, trying to grasp what their preferred products are and their evolving preferences within the flooring industry?
Sure. I mean, obviously some of the challenges we face as manufacturers and supporting our dealer network is really just understanding where the industry is going and the complexity of the industry. The product innovation now is happening so fast that you have lots of different product types, and to be able to showcase those different types of product types to our consumers and ultimately educate them on the products, showcase those products, and then drive those consumers to our retailer sites to hopefully ultimately make a purchase with the educated, decisions that they've been able to make via our website.
I love that. And Brandon, I'd kind of like your take on this as well. What are some of the obstacles that dealers are encountering, maybe from their perspective, when they're trying to connect with manufacturers?
Yeah, I mean, retailers are at, the flooring retailers at this really interesting intersection of a couple of problems. So the first is that like the flooring industry, especially from the dealer side, and Todd, maybe you can attest to this, like it wasn't a digital, there wasn't a huge focus on digital up until recently, right? And COVID for sure accelerated it. But your average flooring retailer, they want to sell floors. They don't want to worry about the digital side of their business. The problem is that consumers, 90% I think of consumers are starting with flooring store near me when they're doing their Google search back at home. And we know as a consumer, you start online. First thing that you're going to do is you're going to start browsing through those websites that come up, and you want to see what products, right? You want to see what products that retailer offers. That's the point of doing the search. You're not just trying to find a store, you're trying to find a product. And, Todd was talking about the difficulty of managing such a vast array of products within a brand. Take that even further, right? When you're a flooring retailer, you walk into the flooring retailer showroom and they have dozens of brands. They've got dozens of brands with hundreds, thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of SKUs. How do you, as a flooring retailer who is not tech savvy, that hasn't had to be a part of your business, how do you transform a website that your consumers are going to, looking for your products? How do you get those tens of thousands of products on there? Right? Like, how do you actually do that? That's really hard for your flooring retailer. They want to show their products. They need to show their products, but that requires them to somehow get that data from dozens of manufacturers, find a way to standardize it so that they can display products in a consistent manner, and then keep those up to date when those products are changing at different cadences throughout the year. That's a crazy task. And so when I think about the challenges that they face, they are at this intersection of needing to show their products. But how do you do it when you're dealing with that many tens of thousands of SKUs? And so I get proud of what we've done with all of the strides we made, with the partnerships we made with the manufacturers in the industry, and then the sort of working hard to make it easy for the retailer to be able to do that so elegantly through our Roomvo Partner Program. That gets me really excited.
I love that. Yeah, especially when they're trying to manage that volume of SKUs in store. And then you mentioned trying to connect that to like their web presence, where most shoppers are starting their journey, keeping everything up to date. So that also when you're getting data, there's some accuracy behind it. That's certainly a challenge.
Yeah, Todd, I do have a question, Todd. Like, how were you guys approaching that before? Was that always on your radar, this concept of trying to get these products onto the retailer site? Is that a fair problem? Am I summarizing it all right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's obviously one of the reasons that we, have developed a partnership with you guys, is to be able to distribute our products to as many retailers as possible in, sort of the most visual and compelling way that are going to help drive consumer engagement and ultimately consumer purchase, right?
Sorry for cutting you off, Josh.
No, that's great. Please jump in. It's about the conversation. So Todd, clearly we know that this data can be really valuable, and at times it's hard to get. So I'd love for you to share some insight on maybe what sources or channels you're leveraging to gain consumer insight, and how is your team leveraging that data and analytics to make better decisions?
Yeah, I mean, obviously our number one goal with our websites, our brand sites, I should say, so whether that's mohawkflooring.com or Karastan.com, for example, is to bring consumers onto those websites, have them engage with our products, and obviously with visualization, it allows them to truly, see what the product's going to look like in their room, all the things that, bring them further along that journey. And then ultimately what we're most, the most important, and you certainly mentioned it several times in the upfront, is driving those leads. So we are ultimately trying to convert those consumers from our websites as a lead over to our retailers so that they can hopefully, drive them in the store and continue that purchase process. So we are using the data that's provided to us to really understand what types of products and categories and pages and all those things that are most effective in driving those leads. And certainly we know that the visualization within our product pages is a strong driver in that area. So we continue to focus on that area and really help bring that request a quote or order a sample, all those types of actions that drive leads to our retailers.
Awesome. Yeah, that's certainly the goal. And then we're happy to kind of contribute and partner with you to continue to optimize that and find ways to drive more leads. Brandon, from your perspective, insights are valuable also at the retail level for the dealers and their businesses, the retailers. So what initiatives have you observed are improving communication and collaboration between the manufacturers and the dealers? Like, what are the key factors that contribute to the successful manufacturer-dealer relationship that you've seen, or unsuccessful, like on the other side?
Or unsuccessful. No, I think that there's been a lot of strides in this. I think back to 4.5 years ago, right, when we really started breaking into the dealer world. Because 4.5 years ago, the 0 retailers in North America have Roomvo. And when we start talking to manufacturers back then, probably the very first objection that we would get was something along the lines of, we really want to improve the experience on our website. We're not really sure if retailers would adopt a tool like this, right? And 4.5 years later, we have 5,500 retailers now using Roomvo. But that success really belongs to the manufacturers. Like, that is the initiative that has changed the game for us. And so now we have much more productive conversations right out the gate where the manufacturer says, we want to provide an engaging user experience wherever the customer goes, right? We sell products to, 1,000 retailers, and 800 of them probably have a website today that's live. Those 800 retailers are really struggling to showcase our products, the manufacturer's products, on their website. So that means you got hundreds, if not thousands, of home buyers going to websites today, and your products aren't there. How can we help solve that problem? And so the manufacturers have really taken it upon themselves through partnering with us to support retailers to enhancing not just their own websites, their own brand.com websites with Roomvo, but how do we get these tools into retailers' hands? The analytics that I think retailers are looking at, Todd, you and I spoke about this not long ago. I think when I asked you, what do you think the most important analytics are for a retailer? I think you said leads and traffic. Is that fair? Yeah. And so, when we think about leads and traffic, we're actually taking a step back. We're not even talking about visualization. We're talking about their website. I think we've done a bad job as an industry in some cases, even educating the retailer on what these stats mean for them. We talk about traffic in absolute numbers, like as if all traffic was equal. We talk about this idea that having 1,000 people go to your website every month has to be better than having 100 people go to your website. But the truth of it all is that leads, that's what matters. If I give you 2 websites, one with 1,000 people on that goes to it, the other one with 100, and the one with 1,000, they got 10 leads. The one that has 100 people has 20 leads. Every dealer is going to take the 20 leads, like every time. And so what we're focused on is, how do we give that to retailers? How do we help them convert the people that go to their website into a lead? Not how do we just drive people for the sake of driving people to the site, but how do we get high intent consumers to then transact? And that's where what we do really comes into play by helping you get your products on your website. A customer can actually browse things, and let's quantify this. They're browsing 16 products on average in Roomvo, right? That's a crazy amount of time spent on your website. In fact, on average, 8 to 10 minutes is spent on your website because of having a catalog and because of having a visualizer. And then when they get to see their products come to life, we know that Roomvo leads to 5 times higher conversion rates. So what we're really focused on when we work with these manufacturers to form these partnerships isn't just a snazzy tool. It's a way to help your retailers create an engaging experience on their website that keeps consumers there longer and ultimately transact. And that's the goal. That's what we're trying to do. And those are the big initiatives that I've seen be really successful between the manufacturer and the dealer.
Well said. Yeah, I know with my own experience leading the customer success team, it's great to have these strong partnerships with the manufacturers as well to facilitate those conversations and make sure that the catalogs are up to date. So we certainly partner any way we can to make that easy for both you and easy for your dealers. Just a reminder to the audience that there is a Q&A button at the bottom. This is a great time to start popping in your questions, and I have a few already, but we'll try to get to those momentarily. But I do have a couple more questions. Todd, I wanted to look a little bit more future focused. Could you provide an example of maybe specific trends that you've identified through the visualization data, and how has that influenced maybe your product offerings or your marketing strategy?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're always looking at the types of flooring that are being most engaged with and creating the most leads. And you will see color trends start to happen over time, depending on, sort of what's going on in the industry. And you'll see that consistently with what, design approaches, as well as obviously performance type pieces that people are looking for, whether that be waterproof or pet friendly. Those types of things are all important things that we are focused on and looking at, and making sure that the decisions we're making from a product development perspective are matching what consumers are actually engaging with, and then ultimately, wanting to go into the store and purchase. So it certainly can provide a leading indicator on those types of things, and we're certainly paying attention to that.
That's awesome. Yeah, great for your product offerings and trying to think about those trends, but then also you can leverage marketing strategies to kind of complement that. What about on the sales side? How does visualization factor into your overall sales strategy, or how does it impact your sales team?
I think that it's this. Our sales and product teams are closely aligned in general, so I think it's sort of a similar type approach where we know what is happening from an industry preference perspective and a consumer preference perspective, and the sales team is pretty in tune to that as well. So it's very aligned with what products we're developing or dropping or adding, whether that be colors or performance characteristics, or certainly the innovations we're bringing to the table that are, sort of bringing those types of insights and doing it in a better way or a different way or a more efficient way. And the sales team is very focused and very aligned with what's happening from a product development perspective. So I think they sort of go hand in hand from our side.
That makes sense. You also mentioned kind of at the top of the fireside chat here about trying to educate your customers on products. And I'm sure that the sales team kind of leverages that all together in one cohesive system to be part of that customer education.
Yeah, absolutely. It is part of everything. What you just said is exactly right. So we package everything up in a way so we can educate our sales force, who can then educate the retailers and then ultimately consumers. And of course, we're using our web properties on our side to educate consumers as well, and sort of pre-sell them on products and functionality and all the thing and designs and sort of to both inspire them and educate them essentially is what we're looking to do. And then ultimately, hopefully that when the consumer ends up in that store, they understand sort of the various performance capabilities and designs of our products. And certainly our sales force is hopefully, educated the retailer sales force on the various levels of our products and the capabilities and the performance characteristics and what you get with this product versus this product and what material it's made from and those types of things that all sort of play into consumer preference and trade up opportunities to drive higher sales, higher margins is ultimately what as a retailer you're going to be trying to do.
Awesome. Okay, Brandon, I'm going to put you on the spot here. As you look ahead, where do you think we are heading with data and analytics? Maybe you can tell me more about benchmarking, which I was speaking about earlier, or how manufacturers could use that feature in particular in the future to gain more information on data or more geographic specific information. Where do you think we're heading with this data and analytics?
Hopefully a good place. That's my hope. Where I think we're heading is I actually think we're heading in a really awesome place. Todd, you said something in passing there, and I think that it gets lost a lot of the time in translation. Our data that we're giving you is a predictive indicator. A lot of the data that folks have used in the past are, for instance, sales data. Like that's already happened, and that's great for resource planning in the future, assuming all else equal and those trends carry forward. But what if they don't? And in this world where consumer trends shift, and that's the thing that you really want to be using to predict things like inventory levels, like how much you're actually going to make of certain colors, of certain product types. That's a lot harder to use past data, past sales data to predict. When we look at benchmarking, it's really simple. It's right, and you guys have both mentioned it. How do you stack up against your peers? And because of our advantage in terms of how many folks we have on our platform today, we can make those peer groups a lot more tailored to your business. And that's important because it's going to let you see how you're trending. This is not simply to spark a competitiveness. There is a very real reason why you need to care. The first is, how are you doing amongst your peers? And second is, how are you doing amongst your past visualization sessions to give you a predictive indicator of how your products are being received in the market and what products are being received better than others. When we start taking this into the future, there's definitely a world where we're going to be able to get a lot more geographic with those. What products are performing in this region of the world that you operate in? All of our tips or all of our benchmarks will be paired with really constructive tips for how you can lift those figures, which is super important, help you collect even more data. And then that data is going to be used to be able to predict very specific things like what color and what product are being viewed the most in this region. And therefore, as a company, what should you start manufacturing today? Because if we can help you guys get better on that side of the world, that's going to trickle all the way down to the consumer. So you're going to have a way better inventory management system. Your overhead's going to go down as a result. You're not going to have as much waste. You're going to be able to get the right products to the right people faster so that the lead times on projects are going to be a lot shorter and you're going to have the right products in stock. The consumer is going to be happy, and that's going to keep trickling all the way up. Happy consumer leaves a good review. Your dealers are going to do better. They're going to continue to promote your products because your products never disappoint. They're always there on time. In fact, they're the fastest. And that will promote that retailer doing more business with you as the manufacturer. So these insights at scale are going to start to become increasingly more powerful. And we're dealing now with serious numbers. Like we're in the millions of product views monthly. And so you're going to be able to leverage these way faster and way more powerfully than anyone else in the industry is able to provide, which I get super excited about.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited too. I mentioned earlier how like this real-time data also that we're providing is so critical because it's really hard to get timely data, at least historically. Okay, this is 2024 trends here. So Todd, get out your crystal ball. Looking ahead to maybe the second half of this year, what emerging trends do you foresee shaping the future of the flooring industry? And how are you like preparing to adapt to that?
Well, I think, first of all, we're continuing to, obviously, Brandon touched on it. The industry it's being in a digital space and providing a good digital experience is now at a critical point, and sort of a must-have and table stakes versus maybe it was, certainly pre-pandemic, but even now there is an expectation as a consumer that I will be able to go on to a manufacturer's website, see all the products, to go on to the retailer's website, see all the products that they carry, engage with them. So I think continuing to sort of double down on the experience, and providing a clean, easy to understand experience that educates this consumer quickly so they can get to the information they want without a lot of clutter and confusion. Because, frankly, the challenge that we continue to face in flooring is, well, first of all, a flooring purchase it's not like a regular purchase that you may do on a monthly basis or even a yearly basis. You're making a flooring purchase maybe once every 7 years or so. So you essentially have to re-educate the consumer completely about what has happened in the last 7 years in the flooring industry, which is a big difference than most product types that you're buying. So it is a big change. And plus, if the last purchaser was making a flooring purchase 7 years ago, they might not have been using a retailer's website because it may not have existed, right? So we're at a completely different spot than we were at those times. So I think continuing to really just focus on sort of, and I think you touched on it at the very beginning in your presentation, Josh, which is meeting the consumer where they shop, and building an experience in the way that they shop versus the other way around, which is sort of the old school method of come find, we'll show you the way we categorize products and the way we want to showcase products as a manufacturer or as a retailer, and Miss or Mrs. Consumer, figure it out, right? That's not the way so I think really just the continued focus on simplifying and elevating the experience, and understanding that the journey is also not a straight line either. So it's a long buying process. So it typically means that you're going online, in store, back online, back in store, multiple times. And so being able to create sort of consistency there in that process as well is critical. And so I think that's what we're continuing to focus on is trying to create all of that sort of simplicity, consistency, and ease of use.
I love that. Thinking about that whole 7-year window, I mean, even the way you shopped is much different, like you touched on, but the product innovation that you've come up with since then is just like drastically different.
Yes,
really is.
I mean, especially in the resilient space. I mean, there's just so many more types of products than existed 7 years ago. So I mean, it's a massive change in terms of what types of products that we offer now versus then.
Awesome. So just a couple more quick ones, and then I'll try and get to an audience question or two. So quickly, Brandon, what about you? How will understanding trends be helpful from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, we have an awesome trends report coming out as a company, and that report I think really speaks volumes to what we are able to do now when we talk about sort of Roomvo from 30,000 feet. So from the manufacturer's view, it's going to help with um, those predictive trends internally, forecasting a lot better for inventory management and overhead, that sort of good stuff. In aggregate, what we're able to do now is take all of that data from tens and tens of countries, over I think 160 million individual sessions of visualization, to give you a lot more macro trends. Things like what's happening with vinyl versus hardwood at a whole. What's happening with certain colors, are beiges and natural tones becoming more or less popular as time goes on? What color walls are people looking at with their floor, right? That kind of stuff. What months are most popular for visualization, which is interesting because using our theory of predictive indication and essentially using this as the predictive indicator of your sales, does that match up? Are these folks early on in their buying cycle, so they're visualizing, and therefore do we expect the sale to lag by X amount of weeks? All of these things our customers are going to be able to harness as being part of our network. So you're going to be able to unlock insights not only for your business, but also for where the world is going and where shoppers are starting to go. And that's the kind of stuff that's going to help you. One of my favorite things that we do is we help folks see what rooms their products are being viewed in. And let me be very concrete. We have some proprietary tech that actually identifies what kind of room a customer uploads, even if it's their own room. So if I upload a kitchen, it gets tagged as kitchen automatically. And again, if we zoom out in aggregate, you get to start to see, hey, how many of Mohawk's customers are looking at products in this room versus that room? And that can really help your marketing team tailor what lifestyle imagery to use, because you know what will resonate best with your consumers. That's the kind of stuff that I get really excited about, and I hope our customers are using it to that degree, because I think it will really improve the experience for everyone.
I'm certainly excited for this trends report to be released. So that was a little sneak peek mic drop there. I believe that should be coming out soon, within the next week or so, maybe less. So keep an eye out for that for those that are on right now. Let's wrap up the call or the fireside chat with one last question. Actually, there's some chats or some Q&A questions here in the chat related to this. So for Todd, how does a Roomvo Partner Program provide you with specific data, consumer data, and enhance that dealer relationship?
Well, certainly, from a dealer relationship perspective, it gives the opportunity for all of our dealers to have visualization on their site and our entire product catalog, visualized for them. So, and giving that consumer then a best-in-class experience. So I think that's certainly the benefit. As far as the data's perspective, I mean, what you think, I can't remember if Brandon touched on it, but I mean, just the sheer volume of retailers, we're now getting a much bigger, data is always better, when the sampling size is larger, right? So I think that's the biggest benefit you get is you're looking at a wide variety of dealers, and you can also, like you said, start to understand geographic differences because you have enough of a sampling size to really understand what's happening, even at a region level. Versus, if we only had our brand sites, that's potentially, not enough information to drive the reach or the locality of things and the specifics when you get to a certain area or geographic area. So I think really just having that ability to look across lots of different retailers. We also understand, based on sort of our edge, loyalty program system and just this, we understand what the size of certain retailers are. And so that also affects, certain amount of information that we're looking at in a, how many retailers in a certain area and the size of the retailer, all that information we're able to sort of marry together and look at, what does that mean for that consumer in that area and that shopper?
Love that. And I have one more here, quick one, just because I know we're at time, but this is another audience question for you, Todd. As you reflect on your partnership with Roomvo, do you have an example of maybe an unexpected insight that you've gotten through analyzing or looking at the visualization data?
I think the biggest, I was not sure how many people would be uploading their own room I mean, I knew it would be a decent number, but it's significantly maybe higher than I expected. So, which also indicates a higher level engagement, and they're probably further along in their purchasing journey, as opposed to just, if I'm just on a website looking at rooms and I'm just sort of in a very just sort of what I would call dream phase, maybe I'm probably less worried about seeing what it looks like specifically in my living room or my kitchen. I'm just kind of want to see, what does this floor look like? What does this one look like? Right. But if I'm further along, I'm actually now I'm replacing my floor in my living room. I'm replacing my floor in my kitchen. I want to see what that floor looks like in my kitchen and my living room, which, that's a great indicator of, where they are in their purchase journey, and more likely to, drive to a lead, and hopefully a lead that converts, right? So I think that was the biggest, sort of surprise to me, was the number of consumers that are, taking the time to upload a picture of their own room and visualizing multiple types of floors in that room.
Incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Folks, we're at time. I just want to say a massive thank you to Todd Skidmore for joining. Todd from Mohawk as our industry expert. Your insights were super valuable, and it was a really engaging conversation. Thank you as well to Brandon for all of your insights and participation. We had quite a few questions in the chat that we weren't able to get to. If you do have any questions about today's session, or you'd like us to answer, here's my email, but you can contact any of us here at Roomvo, and we'll certainly be happy to help you. Thank you so much for joining today's Roomvo webinar. We hope to see you at the next one. Take care.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thanks.